Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, darling, how's it gonna
If you want to work in pickleball, pickleballjobs.io. All sorts of new jobs being added every day. Work in pickleball, you know you want to. We can start with that, and we do like a cold open, where we talk about the first time we played each other. Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
What would you, based on that experience, what would you rate me? What do you think my DUPR would be?
Oh, I feel like DUPR's hard to rate.
what
Everyone rates off that, the typical tennis scale.
Right.
Yeah, you got to like inflate it by a little bit of a
you mean like
percentage.
in that match?
Yeah.
Probably 4 or 5.
Piece of shit.
As a 4-5 duper.
No.
Okay,
Like,
4-5.
yeah, like say like 5-5-6.
So what were you doing down in 5-0?
DUPR, I would like. I'd only been playing for like 2.5 months.
Sandbagger.
Sandbagging.
I was using a Franklin paddle. Zane knows my struggles.
Really? Like
no comment.
Smooth.
Yeah.
No comment. I'm contractually obligated to not comment on that.
Well, since I can comment, it was smoother than a baby's bottom, and I had probably used it for
Yeah.
I don't know 2 weeks.
Well, that was. I mean, your spin
No
wasn't
comment.
the issue. You were just getting everything back, and then your partner was fine. Not that she was bad, but it was very clear that we needed to send everything to her, and you just wouldn't let it happen.
Yeah.
It literally was just sideline to sideline.
Were there any Andiamos in that match?
No, I don't.
When?
This was pre-Andiamo.
Pre-Andiamo.
Was this a year and a half ago? 2 years ago?
This was
It would have been a year and a half.
this was San Clemente 2 years ago.
2021.
When was the invention of Andiamo?
Oh, I think Andiamo started when I started playing pro. I felt like a little bit more.
Did it just come out one day and then you were like, kind of like that?
Yeah, I've always messed around. Like I think I was playing around with a little bit of the Spanish, and then I was like,
Vamos is so overplayed.
yeah, way too much. There's actually like I think it was the Dallas PPA. I was playing with Newell, and we're on center against Pat and Jay, and there's a kind of good quote by Morgan Evans where he was saying like, "Oh, this guy's got it all. A little bit of Spanish, a little bit of Italian. He's crashing the net, big two-handed backhand." It's like, I think he's like, I like to hear the vamonos, like the venga.
Yeah.
Let's broaden the horizon.
Yeah.
So then I started going with the Italian. It just felt a little bit more close to home.
Does it get kind of like overplayed or annoying that like every time something's posted on social now, it's like it doesn't even say your name, it just says Andiamo? It's like the caption, it's like overlaid on the video.
I think it's good.
It's brought up on every.
I've built the brand at this point.
Yeah.
So I think it's something that's unique.
Yeah.
Who else has a paddle that comes with an easy button that screams Andiamo when you push it? So yeah, I can't.
Is that a feature of the Volair these days?
It comes in a like gift box. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah. So we made like like the gift box, which is like a little bit more. You get like some cool knicknacks, like
Right.
the signature photo, the Andiamo button.
What about one of these? What about one of these photos right here?
This you're gonna have to talk to Lauren about that, but we could make something. I'm sure we could.
Surprised that doesn't say Andiamo.
We should just cross out the last name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Agreed. It would be a little weird if you sold those with Arnold on them. I don't know how Lauren would feel about that.
Who's Arnold?
I just looked up how to say "let's go" in Hindi, and I was going to steal it from you, but I don't know how to pronounce this. It's like Shaldar. Can you imagine me out there?
Shaldar.
Shaldar. Maybe.
Sounds good.
Maybe.
Got a good ring.
We'll
to it.
see. We'll see.
Get a couple free points. Just your opponent's probably thinking like, "What the hell did he just say?"
Exactly.
Yes, in return.
True
Still
that.
doesn't know what he said.
So, okay. Getting into it. Pickle pod.
Nice. That's
First,
the intro.
yeah, that's the intro. We've been talking for like 10 minutes at this point. Pickle pod. Let's go. Why do you think Brooks created blue and orange cards? Was it because of you?
Oh, I thought you were gonna think like, why did he pick those colors?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, those
Already,
colors are
already, I'm
garbage.
like, which one's which?
I have no idea.
Yeah, me neither.
Blue technical warning. Orange
Red
point. But
because
is it an
orange.
deduction? I thought it was like a point deduction.
I want to see somebody get ejected.
Yeah.
I wish there was a technical. Like, can you imagine Bob Swisshelm just teeing somebody up. Like we need that.
You
we
need that
this.
drama.
Like
Yeah.
we don't need this. We need this.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you bring that up because we were debating with some players amongst ourselves of like, if you had to pick a player, who do you think is most likely to get one of those cards? And Pablo was pretty low on my list of people that I thought would get the card. And after I heard what happened, I understand why. But I kind of thought maybe it was because he said something in Spanish. Because I know.
Oh, did he not say something in Spanish?
No, I think he was getting heckled pretty badly.
So we have video of this
of
this kid getting kicked out of the
What?
stadium. Yeah.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah, he got like escorted out by like a guy. We have it on video. We're going to put a video out. But tell us your understanding of what happened.
I didn't
We'll
see
include
it.
in
This
there.
is this was someone else telling me what happened. But I heard that he was just getting heckled a lot and kind of snapped. Used the English F-bomb and I guess then the guy got escorted out. So
That's not so bad.
yeah.
See,
not
that's
so
where he
bad.
messed up. Never speak English on the pickleball court.
Yeah,
he
right.
speaks Italian. You know, like if you swear in other languages, it's fine, right? Like you're totally fine.
I feel like there's pros and cons. You can get away with the swearing, but then you might say something as simple as like, come on, Fetty, we got this, and then you're getting a warning. So
Yeah.
I think that happened at what PPA? I'm not really sure.
I don't know, man, but I've played Fetty before, and Fetty's had some choice words. And this is kind of funny. I played him in New Jersey, and he went off. He said some things that I'm sure were swear words, like absolutely positive. I don't speak Spanish, but he was not saying like I love kittens, right? And so I asked. It was Diane Unitich. I'm like, Diane, is that not a point penalty? And she's like, no, I don't know what he said. I was like, well, let's Google Translate it and find out.
Yeah.
And pretty sure he said he
didn't-
wanted to murder some kittens. Like
something along those lines. Something about his mother. I don't know. But
his mother.
somebody's mother. Somebody's mother. But Diane was not having it at that point. But I was like, Diane, we can Google it right now. Let's Google what he just said and see if it's a swear word, and then we'll give him a point penalty. I'm literally having this conversation with Diane, like half kidding, half serious, but mostly serious.
And you were
No point
offering to do the
penalties.
work, it seems like.
Yeah, I was like, I'll go get my phone.
Let's Google, but let's be honest, you know how to use the phone. She doesn't.
I didn't go that far, but again,
Google
probably
Translate
accurate.
would have taken too long to find. You were on it. You're like, I have it open already. I knew this was going to happen.
I had it ready. So what do you, in all seriousness, what do you think about blue and orange cards?
Like the system overall.
Sure.
I don't have a problem with it. It's a little subjective, I guess, but what isn't, in pickleball when it comes to the refs making calls. But yeah, I mean, it's something that keeps us in check a little bit. It didn't seem like it got used all that much. So it's not like, it was getting abused and we felt like we were in like this like cage where we couldn't be emotional. So, yeah, that was fine. I mean, I got a technical or verbal warning for smacking the side padded fence or something with my paddle. So, it's not like they're just throwing them out to throw out cards. But, yeah, I was surprised that Pablo got one and I didn't. So,
Gotcha. Yeah, so you didn't feel like it impacted your behavior at all or anybody's behavior?
no,
I didn't even think about it when I was
I
playing.
didn't think about it. Like, I felt like I just didn't feel like they're going to throw out a orange card, I guess. Unless it was something just ridiculous. So,
Yeah. It would have been a fun, back to our conversation with Pardo, would have been a fun prop bet.
see who
Pablo Tellez would have paid out a lot, that bet.
Yes, for sure. Definitely.
Who would your money have been on? All right, so I would have said you. I would have said maybe Matt Wright if the match got contentious enough.
yeah. If Matt was Matt out there, then yeah. I don't know where he's been. So that That's
If you find
tough.
him, let us know.
Yeah, it's tough. So you gotta.
Just kidding. We all suck.
Yeah.
It was a collective suck.
Team cleans, keeping it clean out there. You know?
Yeah, clean sweep.
Yeah. Part of the brand at this point.
Interesting. So I would have guessed somebody like James or Tyson, somebody who just like, I feel like the easiest way is just to let a swear out. That's you drop an F-bomb out there on center court, like I feel like somebody's gonna tee you up.
I don't think I've ever heard Tyson swear. I've seen him, karate some paddles over the knee.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. I guess he does kind of do it under his breath.
Like behind his, he shields it too. So I feel like Tyson and James is like, he's not an angry person. He just has these outbursts.
Yeah.
I was thinking Anna, but then I was like, because she's kind of very similar to me, but she doesn't get as, like, I don't know. I think I can approach that line a little bit more than her. She's more like kind of directed at like the opponents and like just pumping up and getting loud.
A degree of antagonism in like certain players' outbursts and emotion versus others. Right.
I think I would have gone with Anna Lee just because the big thing with those cards, I think, was like to keep us from getting in the ref's face.
Yeah.
And I feel like on multiple occasions her behavior was unchanged. So she was still trying to really influence the ref's decisions by, getting close and I don't know what she's saying to them, but just giving them her opinion of what happened.
Sure.
So I thought maybe she would have gotten one just for like, breaking the quote unquote rules that are in place. But yeah, no, it's a tough one. I'd have to think on it a little bit more.
There's obviously
maybe
our boy
DJ.
Yeah.
Throws another paddle into the stands.
That's a blue card for sure. Orange card. I don't know what's what. I refuse to learn which one's which. We'll call it yellow and red.
Yeah, it's interesting because like, is orange closer to yellow or red? That's a tough one.
I don't know, but I really just I feel like the pickleball world is missing the opportunity to watch Don Stanley give somebody a technical.
Yeah.
No. Boom.
Yeah.
Tee him up.
Dude.
Like, come on, that's low hanging fruit.
He looks like the ref from Dodgeball, the movie, too. Like a little bit, right? The one who dangles the string.
Oh, yeah. You step over the line, you're out of the game.
Yeah.
Going back a quick sec, you said that like, sometimes you approach the line like what is the line? What crosses the line in your opinion in terms of behavior on the court?
For me, things that I like look back on and I'm like, damn, I wish I hadn't done that. It's usually like the outburst, like this, like smacking a ball. Generally, I feel like I'm like, I wish I hadn't done that. Like, it's a low chance, but there's still a chance that I hit that shot or I hit that ball and it doesn't go where I want it. And it's a whole, kind of a Djokovic scenario where you hit someone and then you feel like a total douchebag. So, those kind of outbursts, I think generally my frustrations are okay at times. I think we're all competing out there. I'm an opinionated person. You call a foot fault. Clearly I didn't foot fault, so let's argue about it. But
don't argue with Big Mike, brother.
Yeah.
My guy's never wrong.
Yeah. So I've never foot faulted once in my life. But no, I mean, yeah, I think it's the heat of the moment. Whether it's like to try to change the call, which generally it's not. I think it's just kind of like venting. Which helps you, depending on the player that you are, helps you get ready for the next point. So, but yeah, I'd say the ball hitting is probably my number one thing. I've had some altercations sometimes with fans generally who try to interject themselves into the match a little too much. It happened. It happened at the JW Marriott PPA. I had this guy that was following me all day singles.
Really?
Yeah. But
like from match to match.
From match to match. It was ridiculous. I I
Like
feel
just
like
to heckle you, basically, or what?
yeah, it was very much like a Happy Gilmore moment.
Yeah, right.
I was like, who paid this guy? Am I gonna get hit by a Volkswagen?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, so, but I honestly, I credit him for helping me beat J-Dub.
That's what I was going to say. Like, I mean, sometimes these guys can basically instigate your emotion to the point where it helps you win.
Get you riled
Play
up
better.
a little bit.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna start paying someone to actually heckle me. You know,
It's like David Goggins.
Yeah,
You guys know what he does?
Yeah.
He prints out a bunch of stuff that his haters say about him and like reads it to himself for motivation.
No, he
constantly.
reads it, records it, and then he listens to it. So he listens to his haters over and over again to get himself motivated before he does like a big event or even like on a daily basis almost.
Julian, would you say that you're the David Goggins of pickleball?
Basically.
I suppose. I'm sure I have plenty of material to print out and read from. So.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So your energy is polarizing, right? People love it or they hate it. And what would you say to the person that's like, this guy needs to chill out?
Yeah.
Like what do you say to that person?
Well, I don't know. I'd say it's me. It helps me play better. You know, I'd rather if it was me, like as a spectator, I'd personally rather watch someone who looks like they give a shit.
Sure.
Versus just kind of going through the motions. So sorry, Colin. I'm gonna keep playing like but you know, there's no
Tune in next week for our interview with Colin John.
his rebuttal. But you know, it's like I feel like as much as people like can dislike me, it's like I don't take it personally, or I don't personally like dislike them. Like I think there should be some mutual respect out there, and it's like you know, obviously I might operate a little different than some of the other top players, but you know, I'm just doing me, and I don't feel like I ever really crossed the line when it comes to being a sportsman-like out there. I tend to balance myself out pretty well if I don't know. What do you think, Zane? Yeah,
so I was actually going to say some of the same stuff where you and I have played plenty of times. We've had plenty of close matches. And I'm not going to lie, you get under some people's skin. You don't get under mine because when I'm playing, like...
That's a challenge.
Well, sure, go ahead. But here's the thing. So Julian's loud, he's yelling, he's doing his own thing. But unless I engage with him, right? Unless I'm like, Julian, shut up, you annoying asshole. Right. Like, then it's game on. Then he's coming at me, right? Yeah. But until that point, he's doing his own thing. Mm-hmm. It has nothing to do with me, right? He's getting himself pumped up, and you're pumping yourself up, or you're mad at yourself. It has nothing to do with me on the other side of the net. Right? Until I start chirping at you, and then it's kind of game on for you, right? But we've played plenty of times, and I've never felt that you've been chirping at me, which I think people get irritated by some of the chirping, right, back and forth. But it's always, when you do it, it's always for you, and that's why I've never had a problem with when we're on the court together. You can be going nuts; that doesn't make a difference to me because you're not saying crap to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'd agree. I appreciate you saying that too. So, yeah, it's all for me, and until, you know, I feel like someone's attacking me or my partner and wants to make it personal, and I'm not gonna just, you know, sit there and take it. So,
yeah, you're fine to make it personal too, but you're not the one that starts it. I will say.
But afterwards, at the same time, like, I'm the first to go and like say like great match. Like it's happened so many times. Like it started with my first time playing Matt and Lucy in the Masters. It got pretty chirpy out there. Next day I go up to Matt and say, hey, like, you know, great playing, no hard feelings. I hope there's, you know, no issue off the court. I just wanted to say that, you know, you guys played great and deserved to win. Mm-hmm. And, you know, he was totally fine with it. And same thing happened when we played me and him me and Jesse against him and Lucy. You know, I felt like he crossed the line, hitting my partner, not apologizing. You know, it's getting a little chirpy out there for, you know, 2 games. But same thing. It's like, you know, I don't want that to continue into the next day or, you know, even after the match. So, and it's same thing with I think people have started to like try to build this like rivalry between me and Colin. And it's like, I don't have any problem with Colin, like off the court. Like,
so you do have a problem with him on the court?
Well, not really on the court either. Like,
damn it. I'm trying to stir the pot, man. Just let me stir the pot.
My problem is that he gets too many balls back. Like,
Fair.
maybe if he could just miss a couple, you know. No, but no, I don't have any problem with pretty much anyone. Like, you know, I'm just trying out there trying to compete as hard as I can and beat everyone that's on the other side of the court. So I'm sorry if you think that's an attack on you, but no, this is sports, so you know, friends afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I do think like the reaction to your energy, the tone of that reaction has changed as you've gotten better. Like, so when you first came on the scene, you're kind of getting in the later rounds. You weren't necessarily meddling a lot. People were like, who is this annoying guy? But now you've built up, I think, your persona. People refer to you as Andiamo. I mean, you basically have this like personal brand now. And the tone has switched in that people appreciate your energy and they know who you are more than they used to. And now it's not so much this guy's super annoying. It's like this guy plays with passion and energy. And you're, I would say, probably like a lot of people's favorite player now because of that, right? So it went from a negative to an overwhelming positive for the most part, right? Except for the guy who's like following you around for a match.
right.
Which we should get that guy in the pod.
I know, I'd love to.
Agreed. Better than Chad Lactates.
Yeah,
kidding,
I mean,
Chad, we love you.
I would agree, like 100%. I mean, Lauren says it all the time because she's been there since the beginning. She's like, you know, who the hell is this guy? Just, you know, she's like, yeah, maybe you should take it a different direction. And it's like, right. I'm like, no, like, I don't know. I feel like as an athlete coming into this sport, especially as a tennis player, I think you know what you're capable of. Like, I remember when I first got into it, I watched some pro pickleball and I was like, I think it was like Yates, Ben Johns, Weinbach, and Matt Wright playing like at the U.S. Open or something.
Yeah, right.
Doubles points. And I'm like, I was like, yeah, this Ben guy looks pretty good. Nice technique. You know, it's like, but I think I could compete with these guys. Like, you know, like everyone says, right? They're going to be pro in 3 months, right? So obviously I had a little bit of a reality check. You know, I knew it was going to be harder than what I initially thought. But at the same time, I never like lost confidence and said, oh, like I don't have a chance. Yeah, I sucked at first. I couldn't dink the ball. I, you know, didn't have the experience. I didn't have the touch yet, but I knew I would get there eventually. So I played like I would play if I was winning. And yeah, as it got better, the Andiamos made a little bit more sense. But I'm glad that I didn't like it. I think it would look worse if like I only just started doing all my stuff right. 6 months ago. Right. Like the fact that I did it from the beginning, everyone who's seen me play since the beginning of my career understands like, oh, he's not just like fake. Like this isn't some like act to like build some weird brand or something. Like, no, this is actually who he is. And love it or hate it, you know, at least it's genuine. Yeah. Well, speaking of building your brand, so you are now playing with the Volair, right? So you are a co-founder of this company, right? Yeah. So you're leveraging the brand more than ever, probably better than most players. I've always said, if you're a player on tour right now, like you should be just creating your own products because the barrier to entry is so slim. And if you have a personal brand, it can really be a differentiator for you. But like, can you tell the story of Volair, how it came to be, and like just what the story is with that paddle and that brand generally? Yeah. So my buddy Ryan Cohen, who's the one who kind of got me started into pickleball. You know, he and I have been doing this together since day one, and I think it was right around the U.S. Open last year, or maybe like a month before. Actually, I'd say right around then. We were, you know, I was still playing with the Electra Model E. We were trying to figure out, like, you know, maybe I can get like a paddle deal for, excuse me, for like 6 months or whatever for the rest of the year. So, you know, we're trying to talk to Electrum and Mohith and all that. And, you know, he kind of put me on the back burner and said like, oh, well, you know, like, yeah, I'd love to talk, but I'm going to England for 2 months. Can we talk after? And I'm like, 2 months is a long time, pickleball. Like, you know, what am I going to be worth by then? And like, it's just kind of a slap in the face. I don't know.
Right.
Do they not have phones or email
Not in England, no.
Yeah. Oh, they don't?
No.
Okay, good to know. Zane.
You have to go in one of those like red
Those big,
booths.
those big
Yeah,
That's
telephone
the only
booths.
place they have them. Yeah.
For sure.
Exactly.
Great
So that
team,
was
though.
probably a little too difficult for him. So anyways, at that point I was just like, yeah, screw it. And Ryan was like, you know what? Why don't we just try to bet on ourselves, you know? You know, it's something that I think being from an individual sport, that's what you're kind of doing throughout your childhood. You're like, I'm betting on myself to be a good tennis player so that maybe I can go to a good school, blah, 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 whatever. My buddy Ryan's the same way with all of his business adventures. So, you know, he's always bet on himself and he's done very, very well. So we said, screw it. Let's see if we can make a paddle. And from then on, it was just kind of getting a bunch of different samples from different manufacturers, testing it out, like seeing the quality. Once we had a manufacturer that we felt like the quality was good, just kind of testing different little things like changing weight, changing materials, thicknesses, grip size, head shapes, all kinds of things, and kind of taking little things from paddles that I had been playing with and seeing what I liked and trying to kind of Frankenstein a little paddle. So, 8 months later, we're releasing our paddle, and I think that was around the end of November. Yeah. So it's been great since then. You know, it's been a slow build, but MLP really helped. MLP Mesa really helped kind of catapult things. Sure. And we've slowly put different things into place, like our ambassador program, which definitely helps spread awareness and getting support of these fans that are willing to sell our product.
Right. Because then the question becomes, how do you break out of just like the people tuning into pro pickleball, right? Right. That's how you go after the larger opportunity, right? How'd you come up with the name?
It's a little bit of a like kind of based on the Italian word volare, which means to fly, and then we just changed the A-R-E at the end to A-I-R, which we felt would be easier to say. And then Volair was created. Got it. Okay.
I heard that I heard a rumor that it was a combination of two other paddles or brands. Is that just not true? I'm trying to think what they would be right now, but now I can't remember. Maybe that was a different.
No, definitely not. No? But I'd be interested. Like,
I thought he was just a big time fan of the French writer Voltaire. No.
No.
Okay.
Say yeah.
Just say yes.
It'll make you look
he's in my
sophisticated.
Top five. Perfect. Interesting. So like how many people are technically like employed by Volair? Because I'm guessing, you know, no offense, I'm guessing you didn't build out the website yourself, because I don't know why you would. Did you?
No.
Okay, good. See, okay, good. So I'm not just an asshole, but I didn't build mine. Like,
would this include like signed players?
I'd say people that are like working Volair, right? So obviously there's.
I'd probably say like.
Did you just go to two hands?
6 to 8.
Okay. Gotcha. So like, what's going on behind the scenes at Volair? Would you mind taking us through it? Because right now there's like, you know, you guys have one paddle. I'm sure you're R&Ding more, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't try to like pretend that I know a whole lot of what Ryan's planning, but you know, for me, I'm basically, you know, just the tester. I tell Ryan what I want, what the next step is, like, hey, let's try to put out this paddle. I want to try these things, and he basically makes it happen. And then I get some paddles at my doorstep, and I try them, get them back to him, get
nice
my
little
feedback.
deal.
Yeah, that's good.
You are the R&D department.
Yes, so I think that's nice. I feel like, you know, I know certain players have given me their thoughts of like why they've moved from their paddle companies, because they felt like they were not being listened to. Right. So the great thing is that, you know, I pretty much have full control of like where I want the paddle to go.
Right.
Which, in my opinion, makes the most sense because I don't know why you would trust someone who doesn't even play pickleball to just like make a paddle, pretty much, finish it and then give you this finished product that they're like, yeah, we're going to probably, put this out on the market in 2 months. And then so-and-so pro player uses it and it's like, well, I wish it was this, or I wish this was a little better, or like that. And it's like, well, what if you were doing that from the very get-go?
Mm-hmm.
And so that by the time you get to the end, the product is actually finished versus like now you got to like strip it and restart, or you're just putting out a product that isn't really ideal. So
now this is, you're a co-founder, right? So you're an owner of the business. A year from now, you continue to perform at the level you are. Major League Pickleball continues its growth. PPA Tour continues its growth. All of a sudden, there's more money on the line. A big brand comes in and says, here's this deal that's 3x anything you're going to be making.
Adidas.
At Volair. What do you do then? Would you entertain another?
I think we would. Yeah. It depends on what that number is, obviously.
Yeah.
If 3 times is the number, then that's the number. But yeah, I think most of these paddle companies know that, within, I don't know, X amount of time, there's just not going to be enough space for all these to survive. Yeah. So someone's coming in, is Adidas going to just continue to make their own thing, or are they going to look at one of these other more successful paddle brands and say like, hey, like we'd like to just kind of take over what you're doing, and here's $10 million.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, when is Nike going to get into the game? When is Reebok or whatever big brand is going to come in and say like, hey, we want to make paddles, and you're the 3rd or 4th most sold paddle.
Yeah.
Here's this offer. Because I don't see like companies like Yola being bought out. Like they're a huge company in themselves.
Right. Yeah.
So it's gonna be the Electrums, the Pro XR, maybe
pretty much every other
else.
brand.
Yeah. Engage, right? So all these other Franklin, right? Franklin's another one of those like well-established sports brands.
Mm-hmm.
So Babolat, Wilson, those are all not being bought out by anyone.
Right.
So yeah, I guess that's kind of the goal, right? But at the same time, if we can be just super successful on our own, then maybe not. Who knows?
Right. Yeah. Got it. Yeah. Well, good for you.
We're just dipping our toe in the water, It's like
it's pretty low overhead to get things started, right? You have to put an inventory order in. It's not super hard to get started, and like you said, dip your toe in the water. It's hard to do it right and really, really grow to an international brand, but
I think if any top pro wanted to do it, who's been in the game for a little bit, for me, I think I need, it's great that I had Ryan because I'm still so new to pickleball. But let's say if you or Tyson or Ben, any of these players that's been around for a couple of years and established themselves, then absolutely, not a problem, money wise.
It's funny you say that though. Pickleball time, as you alluded to before, moves so fast. Whereas like I think of you as not one of the newer players. Kind of like Julian's been here for a little bit, right?
Right.
But really, you haven't, because as we talked about, less than 2 years ago, you were playing me in a 5-0 tournament, right?
Right, my very first tournament. Yeah.
Very, very humble beginnings.
Yes.
The reason I asked that at the beginning though is because I have a little bit of chip on my shoulder now because my DUPR is a 3.8.
Oh, that's way too low.
Yeah. I have no idea what happened.
Damn, you should be in the pickleball studio, homie.
Who you been playing with?
The problem is I go down to like Florida and play with my dad and his buddies. And then like the club enters the scores. At least that's my theory. I haven't actually looked. But the half-life too, the half-life of
dads
DUPR.
are reporting all the scores behind your back.
No. Like, so the club.
Got him again.
No,
got him again.
I played in a tournament with my dad, and then the club that we were playing at emailed me later and was like, hey, can you like accept or whatever these DUPR matches? And I was like, no, it's going to take my DUPR. But I think they were able to like bypass me. And so it just plummeted. But then also the half-life of DUPR. So if you're not entering scores, you just decay over time.
That's true.
And I think like I just haven't been entering scores. So it
So that's
decays.
probably what's going on.
But like I think I might go play 3-5 like US Open, go get myself a silver. Depends. There's a lot of sandbaggers.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I think you should go. Prove if you're better than a 3-5.
Yeah, I think I can. If I come up against Chris from
3-5 what?
Baltimore.
You gonna play doubles or?
I'm
or
not a singles player. I don't do singles.
Oh.
Ugh, it's too tough.
So doubles and mixed.
Yeah. How old are you?
32.
32. I'm 30. Singles is too tough for me. So every time I watch you play, the way you're running around on the court, I'm like, damn, like you must have good genes, longevity there that you're able to still move like that.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. It's getting tougher every year. I feel like
Yeah.
it's only been 1 year.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got next? Should we talk about some MLP stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, shoot.
MLP results. Anything else you want to say about Volair or the brand?
Check us out on our Instagram at Volair Pickleball.
Be the wild card.
Yeah. Check out our website, Volair.com. If you're looking for one of the best paddles on the market, there you go. You know,
There you go.
since
Perfect.
You know, Zane's over here with his Pro XRs. I can't.
Do we have it here?
Can't be knocking
Oh yeah,
too
we
many
do.
paddles.
Sweet. Yeah, check out Volair. I've been able to hit with it. It is a solid paddle. Obviously not as good as the one that has my name on it, but it's still a good paddle. Perfect. There we go.
Close. It's like in Zane's opinion, it's a close second.
Close second. There we go.
In mine,
Perfect.
Pro XR is a close second.
Much appreciated.
So they're balanced, very balanced. They have good color schemes also.
That's
They're both
true.
very similar color schemes.
It's true.
Excellent.
I don't know. Someone was redesigning your paddle recently.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what
they're
gives
not
them
blue.
any leg to stand on. Again, once he has his own signature paddle, I am just going to shit on it so hard. I'm going to start reviewing paddles just to review Chris Olsen's signature shit.
Chris
Chris Olsen shat on your paddle too.
Did he?
He did. He shits on
Critic.
stuff.
That critic.
Lazy takes. Sometimes they're good. Sometimes they're not. I don't agree with all of them.
Avi Athletics. Avi is elevating pickleball by creating exceptional athletic wear. You see Alex Newman rocking this stuff all the time. Super swaggy. They believe everyone from professional athletes to casual enthusiasts deserves well-constructed, expertly designed clothing made just for their sport. Avi differs from traditional tennis clothing with pockets that are created specifically for the size and roughness of a pickleball. The comfortable fabric and ultra lightweight feel will quickly make Avi your go-to pickleball gear for tournaments and league nights. Try it for yourself and receive a special 20% discount with code TheDink20 at checkout. That's all caps TheDink20 at checkout. That's TheDink20 at aviathletics.com, aviathletics.com for the best performance wear in pickleball. Boom. All right, so let's talk Major League Pickleball. What'd you think about this? What'd you think about Daytona? Compare it to Mesa. Obviously, you came out on top in Mesa, but what were your kind of overall opinions of MLP and the way it's advancing?
Yeah, I mean it's still one of the best events to be a part of. I love the team aspect. So you know, from that angle, like nothing to complain about. I did feel like, and you know, Zane, I'd like to hear your opinion too. I feel like the challenge system this time around was way too confusing. Like I understood it, but it just didn't need to be like that complicated where you could be like losing points and like I just think they just need to give us like 2 challenges a match and you got 2 timeouts a match. Like just keep them separate and that's enough. Like the whole like you can challenge, but if you don't have a challenge then and you're wrong, then or you're right, they lose a challenge, and then
Right.
if you're wrong, then you lose a point, and just like I was like, oh my goodness, it's just like a lot. So that I felt like they went too far with like you're not even allowed to ask the ref like what their opinion was of the line call. It's just you also can't challenge your own in call, which
Yeah, right.
I don't know about you guys, but I'd rather like not like if I felt like there was moments where I called the ball out because I was like it could have been out, but I'm pretty sure it was in.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like why not call it out
Mhm.
because we just lost the match. Maybe
Right.
it was out.
Mhm.
And then we have to go through this whole challenging thing. I'd rather like, I'm not really sure. I can't ask the ref. It was in. I'd like to use one of my challenges to clarify. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right.
Yeah, nobody needed to cheat against us. So I don't know.
Yeah. You have a
So we didn't have too many
once.
challenges. We didn't have too many challenges. I think the intent of the challenge rule was to it is I think probably slightly complex or maybe slightly too complex, but I like that there's some disincentive to blatant cheating at this point, right? Where I like that there's a give and take to the challenge system where if you get the call wrong, if you call the ball out and I challenge, there's now a punishment for you. You lose one of your challenges.
Yeah.
And I don't think it ever came to the point where anybody had something at risk, at least as far as I know, where meaning they've burned both of their challenges and now they don't have any more. It didn't come to that point. But I think that's also a decent deterrent to make sure that people are making fair calls or not just challenging super liberally in the beginning of matches. So I think, it's complex, but I think there's logic and reason to it for sure. And I think that we did already see in this MLP that it had the intended effect of dissuading people from saying, "Oh, it's close. Let's make them challenge."
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was good, and I like to have two of them too, because if there's a blatant hook at some point, regardless of whether I have or don't have challenges, I do like the option of being able to challenge.
Yeah.
Right. I like the option. If it's a blatant hook, I should be able to say, yeah, I'll put a point on the line if I need to.
Right.
So it's complex, and I think it would be valuable to see it fully played out in a match, to like for people to understand it a little bit better. But I think it does solve a couple of the different things that I've personally been bitching about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I get why they did it. I guess I always look at things through like my own lens. So it's like for me, it's like I don't think about the whole cheating thing or like why it's necessary. I just think like why don't we just give enough challenges? Like why don't we just give each team 3 challenges so that like we can just get the call right, And I don't think about like the repercussions of like making a bad call because I don't tend to make bad calls or not on purpose at least. So I'm not going to say that I haven't ever called a ball out that was maybe in, but to me, I thought it was out. So I get what you're saying. Like it just kind of makes it, we're covering all our bases, I guess, out there.
Not everyone is as ethical as you.
Right.
We'll put it that way without naming names.
Yeah. So
leave your name in the comment who you think are the biggest cheaters in pickleball. leave the name in the comments. There we go. There's the engagement plug. Chad's gonna be all over it. Chad's all over it. He's got a list ready.
What else I'd say? Daytona was interesting. I'd say like as a site, like not my favorite place. Like not necessarily Pictona, but just Daytona. Like not great food. I felt like I was like, where am I kind of thing. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's a lot.
You didn't go to any of the biker rallies?
That was 2 weeks ago. I was all about the biker rallies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I just feel like, what do you think about like doing it at like Delray? Like they have that huge stadium. Like that would be cool.
That would be. I wonder if we would fill that.
I don't think we would, but they could just cover up the top section with like some black, and I think it would be good. Like, I just think there's nicer areas in Florida that we've been to for other tournaments, and I'm like, I was like the whole time just kind of wishing we were there.
Daytona is in a little bit of a strange spot. I didn't realize that it wasn't really super close to anything. Like, it's an hour from Orlando, but anyway, I got to spend plenty of time at the beach.
I heard the beach was nice though. Like, we stayed on the water and it looked nice. I didn't really have any time to go enjoy, but
lucky you.
What else? The sloped courts were kind of interesting.
Oh yeah, that was one of those courts was pretty brutal.
I was shredding drives downhill, downwind.
Really?
Yeah, we only played. We played one match out there.
One of the grandstand courts.
Yeah, grandstand.
It was brutal. It has
really
to be
all
at like
three of those were like.
It has to be at like a 7 or an 8 degree slope.
Really?
Like, it's actually quite a decent. Like,
very noticeable.
It's very noticeable. Like, you can't see over the net. You can't see over the net to the opposite baseline on one side, and on the other side, you can see over the net and like 6 feet before the baseline.
Right.
So your visuals are very, very strange, and I wonder how that would actually affect play. Meaning, like, I think you'd be able to hit it harder when you're going from the downhill side to the uphill side, right? Because
yes, but like harder to get the ball to get over the net and dip. Like, there's advantages to both. Like, I remember we were playing and I was telling Catherine, like, if I get a return that's at all floaty and bounces like waist high or above, I'm driving it because I felt like I was.
Bro, as opposed to what? You do that all the time anyway. What are you talking about?
I'm driving it and making it.
On the uphill side.
On the uphill, hitting downhill, downwind.
Yeah.
I was like, just go. Like, I'll even tell you go. But it felt so much easier. And then vice versa, I thought, like, when you're playing uphill, it's easier to make, your off bounce speed ups or, flicking out of the air, anything that, you're trying to get up and down.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think there was advantages to both sides. The wind was the biggest advantage, I'd say, on those courts. I mean, the match that we lost was out there on grandstand to ATX in a Dreambreaker, and based on the side that we were on, when we switched, we were into the wind, and it was just impossible, like, to get a return past the transition zone.
The side switching in MLP is pretty brutal because when, let's say we have a coin toss and I win the coin toss, right? I have a couple different choices. I can select serve, receive, I can select side, or I can select to be the home or the away team. I have 3 choices that I can make. And if I select side, I'm selecting side for all 4 games and the Dreambreaker, which is enormous. Basically every single one of anybody who won the coin toss elected to choose the side, and you start on the bad side first, right? So if you start on the bad side, the maximum amount of points that you can play is 21 if the score is 11-10. Once you switch sides, you could be playing forever. There's no maximum amount of points that you could play, right? So we had the Andrea Coop and Maggie Brasha versus Leia and Anna Lee match go to 25-23, with obviously the vast majority of the points being won on the second side. So side is so much more important in Major League Pickleball, and also you're selecting side for 5 matches.
Yeah, the potential.
Potentially 5 matches.
No,
right?
You're absolutely right. I mean, so I'd say the overwhelming selection is to pick home so that you can react to mixed.
Did you know, was that true here too?
I would say so, but I know for a fact that my thoughts on it has changed, and it's based on where we're playing. Like, that center court did have some really bad visuals when you were on, I guess, the far side from the other courts. So you were looking out, and there's these two big empty holes where you can see sunlight, you just lost the ball. If you were a left side player looking towards the middle, and maybe not as bad as a right side player because they had the DJ booth over there. But generally, it's that left side player that's coming through the middle and taking those balls. And it was really, really hard to see. So I know after we lost to Ben's team in the semis, I really felt like we lost partially because of side. We were winning every single game by a decent margin on the switch, and then ended up giving up the leads. And visuals are a big part of pickleball. You know, if you lose that ball for just a quarter of a second, whether it's glare, whether it's white paddle, whether it's, you know, I don't know, being distracted by something, whatever, it doesn't matter. You got to watch the ball, right? It's tough. So I felt like we lost partly because of the side. I think we would have had a better chance if we had picked the bad side first. And I even, after that match, told Coop that opinion right there. So I'm not sure what they ended up choosing because I went to go shower or something. But it seems like it worked out for them because they ended up on the good side to finish.
The good side to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they definitely need to go to a, let's say, 8 points played and you switch sides and it's a quick switch. It's not a timeout switch, right? You can have a halftime or whatever, but like take the average amount of points played in a given game, divide it by 4, and instead of having halves where you switch sides, you have basically quarters, or you have a certain amount of points played that you switch after, because I think side is too much of a factor here. Especially because
for sure.
Especially because you are picking sides for potentially 5 matches, which is super, super important. Let's say there's a quarter point advantage to choosing the correct side last, right? That equates to 1.25 points over the course of a match, which is, and even a quarter of a point is a very conservative guess. I think there are certain times where a side can account for 2 or 3 points per game, right? And yeah, I would like to see that changed to a certain amount of points, like a tennis tiebreaker. You switch every 6 points or something. Well,
even in a tennis match, you're switching every odd game. So, you're limiting how much you're on a side, trying to make it as even as possible. It's never going to be perfectly even, but if we can make it as even as possible, that'd be great.
Yeah, a little closer to even, I think is good.
I mean, for me personally, I think that should happen no matter what. But I continue to look at these venues and say, why can't we get the visuals right? Whether it's the PPA 2 weeks ago where I was playing on courts that had the banners facing the other way and the whole thing's white. It's like,
yeah, that's brutal. Those are brutal.
There's some very, very simple things that I think that can be done that, ensure that we're able to play at the highest level without feeling like there's things that are out of our control.
I think we need, like in baseball, they have that part of the outfield that's completely green. So that it's called like the batter's eye or something like that. So it's right behind, it's in a straight line from the batter to the pitcher. And everything behind that is either black or green so that you have a good
backdrop,
yep. Right? But even that, that'd be great. So you're not looking into a white tarp. But even then, like you said, in Daytona, we're in a kind of darker indoor court, and there are a couple little spots where light's shining in. Makes it pretty
very
brutal.
Difficult. I mean, all they needed to do was have someone bring that to their awareness, and then they had the black tarp behind one of the grandstands. Just extend that to these openings, like just 2 more tarps, problem solved. So I don't know if we can get like a player who's helping the tournament set up, or maybe MLP is coming to us before the event and saying like, hey, how does everything look? Can you guys play some games and see how the visuals are? Like, I mean, I think the other thing is probably trying. This is a tough one because you obviously want your sponsors to be seen, but can we move away from the white writing? Like, I think we've all expressed that white is a very difficult color to see the ball on. Is there a way just to change, like, it's a dark background and maybe we use like a blue writing? Like,
Yeah.
just let's try something, because white isn't working
Yeah.
very well.
White sucks.
But you know, I know we're like kind of complaining a lot, but I do want to say that I feel like things have gotten a lot better.
Yeah.
You know, it's not like these complaints haven't been heard. And we're definitely trending in the correct direction. You know, I think the PPA and MLP getting the big screen was a big plus. Like, you know, they're attempting to make it more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
So I do appreciate the effort.
Well, I think we're complaining more, but also it's more impactful. I mean, so sun or vision or visuals has always been an issue, right? But the game was stratified in a way a couple years ago where you're going to beat somebody and the margins are going to be somewhat wide, right? Whereas now we're all getting so much better and the margins are so thin where something like 1 point decided per match by side can decide a match. Before, you know, you might be 3 or 4 points better than me and it doesn't make a difference. Now, where you're, you know, a half a point better than I am, but I end up on the right side, it does make a more of a difference because the game is getting so much more competitive at the top. So while yes, we have made progress, it's also becoming more and more important that we get these things, I think, sorted out because they're having more of an impact on a match, if that makes sense.
No, you're 100% correct. I mean, the game's getting better. It's getting faster. So these little things that, you know, we feel like are giving players or sides an unfair advantage are very frustrating because, you know, as a competitor, you want to go out there and feel like, man, I lost because they deserve to win. You know, if I feel like after the match, I'm like, yeah, they played great, but at the same time, I could barely see half the shots. It's like, it's pretty frustrating, you know? So yeah, I'd love to see these things cleaned up, and I'm confident that they will be eventually. How soon? That's a whole different situation.
Yeah, there's progress, and we'll always find something to complain about. Don't worry. Don't worry. Speaking of which, I have another idea. And let me know what you think about this. Actually, it's not even my idea. It's my buddy Joe's idea. We're gonna call it the Saslow Super Dreambreaker. So, it's a regular Dreambreaker, except
we just add more syllables.
Yes, a lot more syllables.
Mm-hmm.
It's a regular Dreambreaker, except so what the away team sets the lineup for the Dreambreaker. No, the home team selects their first person for the Dreambreaker. And the home team selects the first person who's only going to play 2 points. Following that, everybody else plays 4. So that way every player is staggered by 2 points. It's like a tennis tiebreaker where the first person serves once and then it's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2.
So you mean like if I said I'm going first, I play 2 points, and then you're the first person on your team,
I play 4.
Okay.
Yep. So that way you play 2 points against me, I play 2 points against you, you play your 2, and then Thomas comes in, he plays his 4, and for the rest of the match, everybody's playing 4 points, except for that start, which guarantees that every player will have 2 matchups, and it also guarantees that there will be at least 2 male-female matchups. It means that you would have to play another female, or you would have to play, one of the men on your team would have to play a female. I don't know. Thoughts on that?
Lots of switching.
A little bit of switching, but it's quick.
I actually personally have no complaints with the Dreambreaker, so I probably wouldn't change it. But it's not like it's not a bad idea. It's just something that's different.
It's not a complaint. It's a thought, right?
No, I think it's a good idea. I just I personally like how the Dreambreaker set up the way it is right now. I think it's easy to follow. You got your matchups. It's not too many points at a time. There's strategy to putting, your best player first so that they can play a little bit more if it comes down to it at the end.
Do you think the Dreambreaker is dictating the outcome too frequently?
No. I don't.
Over 50% of matches dictated by a Dreambreaker, I think, in both events this year.
Well,
definitely in the most recent.
In my opinion, that means that the matches are competitive, right? We're getting to a 2-2. People are getting to see what they want to see, right? They get to see all the doubles. It's a close match. It's not a blowout. And then it comes down to these crucial singles points, which I think is a nice addition to MLP because, it makes you think more about, your picks as being an all-around player.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't just necessarily pick the best double specialists, but at the same time, it gives these, what we'd call double specialists a chance to show their singles skills. So, I got to watch Riley Newman play singles. I got to see Colin play singles, which was actually I was like, damn.
Yeah,
Colin's actually a pretty good singles
This guy's
player.
pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Colin used to slap.
He's running Hunter all over the place. So yeah, you see these different styles, and you see these different players playing singles that you never get to see in a tournament. So yeah, I like it. I think it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're a strong singles player.
But I feel like if you were to ask the singles players what they think, they're the ones who are more nervous. Like, yes, we're established singles players, but that means you got to go out there and you're supposed to win your matches or your
Right.
For
points.
sure, you
right?
got nothing to
Right.
lose when
You go
you're
out
just a
there.
doubles
You
player.
go out there and you get passed 8 times by a Kawamoto or something. You're like,
That can happen.
oh no, what am I doing? Maybe I should stop playing singles. But it can happen. Absolutely. That's pickleball. You hit the right shot with the right angle. I don't care who you are. You're not touching it. So at any given moment, you can be Deckel Bar and suffer the wrath of Lee Whitwell.
This is true. Have you ever had to play a female in a Dreambreaker?
I have not.
Neither have I, thank God.
Really?
I have never.
Well, we haven't played the fives yet. So when we do, I'm sure Annalie's coming for me.
Yeah. So I have a strong opinion on how to play females in.
I think Ben Newell wrote the script on how to play females.
Yeah. What's your strategy if you have to play a female in singles?
I'm staying back just for a little bit until I can get them on the move, and then probably moving in.
Definitely. You can't approach on nothing because honestly, I think that the ladies, a lot of them are better at hitting their spots than we are. I think the passes are just as good, if not potentially slightly better than some of ours. Right? They're pretty eagle-eyed with the passes. So you really need to make sure that you're not coming in off of garbage.
Right. I think the passing shots are just as good. The amount of power that we can put on a drive versus them is by the time a drive gets somewhere, it's dissipated enough, so I don't feel like the power's that big of an issue. It's the angles that they're putting on it and the accuracy. So yeah, if you just kind of, loft a return in there, you're probably going to get past. So you got to utilize our advantage, which is probably being a little quicker, being able to move a little bit better. So if we can get them stretched where, it's outside of their strike zone, then we're utilizing our reach a little bit.
Right.
And I think that's where we take the point. We want to extend the point a little bit and get them moving. So.
Right.
Last, unless you have some more, last MLP related question. What's your take on rally scoring for the sport in general? Obviously we play it Major League Pickleball, but do you want to see rally scoring implemented in amateur and USA Pickleball and PPA? What do you think?
I personally don't. I think the sport is designed obviously with a side having an advantage.
Aside meaning like the returning side?
Right. Like I can't hit a serve and just go up to net. So I have to stay back, and I think it's not tennis where the court's really big, and if you can neutralize the serve, you know, the point is fairly even at that point. So I just feel like with the rally scoring at times, even though I think we're getting used to it and not playing so much in this box, you can feel like you're being penalized for taking chances, right? Like you go for a serve and you miss it, that's a point.
Right.
You go for a third shot drive, which is a little bit of a riskier play, and you miss it in the tape, you lose a point. Versus having your two opportunities to score and deciding how you want to play that. Like, do you want to play it a little bit more conservative? Are you more of the risk taker? Blah, blah, blah. You know, there's that pressure on the other team to like, okay, like these are their points. We got to hold them. You know, I think there's a nuance to like the side out scoring. You know, there are obviously some pluses to rally scoring when it comes to viewership and it being a little bit easier to track, but you know, it's not like American football is like an easy score to keep track of. If you don't know if your first time ever watching football, you're gonna be like, what the hell? Like they scored 6 and then 1 and then they kick it, it's 3. Like and then the safety's what's a safety? Like, you know, so. I think that argument just needs to go out the window. Like, it's easier to follow. Like, if someone wants to learn the sport, they're going to follow it. Like, whether it's cricket or, you know, curling or whatever. Like, so I think it just, whatever the score, it needs to be true to the game, and that's side out scoring.
Gotcha.
What do you think?
I mean, I personally I like the simplicity of rally scoring. The one thing that I dislike about rally scoring is that there isn't any switching or stacking. I really do like stacking from traditional scoring.
You've brought this up a few times, and my brain can't wrap around it. Can you explain why? Talk about that a little bit more, like side switching. So, why wouldn't you stack in rally scoring? I guess is my question.
In rally scoring, all right, so in traditional scoring, if I have, let's say I'm the starting server, if I have an even amount of points, I'll always be on the right side. If I have an odd amount of points, I'll always be on the left side. So let's say we start the match, I'm the starting server, I'm on the right side, we score a point, we go to 1, now I'm on the left side. We lose. Ball goes back over there. Well, now I'm on the left side, even though I'm a right side player. Do we switch? Do we stack? Do I go over there? I don't know. Right. But in rally scoring, at least the way that Major League Pickleball is doing rally scoring, you are always just staying on your side. There's no side switching. I start the match at 0, we win the point, it's Julian's serve, right? I don't track over to the left side.
Right.
There's a couple things, like with the stacking, there's also strategy that goes into play when you're playing a team that is trying to unstack. Like, maybe I'm playing Zane, and he's just zoning on cross-court forehand drives. Like, Lauren, let's stay. Like, I'm not going to make her try to run over there and deal with this ripped cross-court forehand, and he's just treeing on us and getting points because we're trying to unstack. Now we're forced maybe to play on the side that we don't want to play, but strategically, it's the best play for us in that moment because otherwise we're giving too much of an advantage to Zane and his third shot drive. The other big thing about the rally scoring and not stacking is I hate not serving multiple times in a row. If you're a right side player, you never return my serve. Like that, it also takes away. What if I have a really good deuce court serve? Like, you're taking away shots from the game. So, and you're taking away my rhythm and all that. Like there's a bunch of different things that it changes about the sport. And I do really like those aspects of, you know, continuing to serve, serving to different sides, getting to use different serves, stacking, unstacking, and how you play out of the stack and how you defend playing out of the stack, you know? So, Yeah, I think that is a huge complaint. Definitely, I agree. The simplicity is kind of nice, but I feel like it's changing the game a lot.
At least from a I would disagree with you to a certain extent on the strategy of things. I think you need to look, or at least I think there's two ways of thinking about scoring, right? There's the camp that says like, okay, it's my serve. I can take a little bit more risk because I'm supposed to technically lose this point. But then there's also the camp on the other side that says, I want to play every point the same way, regardless of whether it's my serve or not, but have the same mentality and same aggression, and just think about winning the most overall percentage of points. And if I do so, I'll win the match. So I mean, like, I don't fully agree with you on the change of strategy, but I think that's probably just because we don't have the same strategies in plenty of different ways, right? You might drop more of your backhands, or I might drive some of them, but my strategy does remain more or less the same with rally scoring, and I do like a lot of the elements of it. I like the simplicity of it to a certain extent, with the not having to deal with 1 and 2 or whatever, and just having a regular score where somebody is scoring a point on every rally. I like it. But I would say my main complaint is that switching, because I think that is a really important strategic element of the game. So I think it'll be interesting to see whether PPA does anything with it or not. I think, what did Connor say? Connor said
he left the door open. He was like, yeah, it makes for some exciting play, but didn't really give anything definitive. I don't think the PPA, I don't think they're sitting behind closed doors saying, let's think about how we're going to move to rally scoring. I think they're thinking about maintaining traditional. And I kind of foresee that being the case for forever. And now with a lot of these stats coming out, the one thing that I understood was optimizing the game for viewership, but the length doesn't differ. I think that Real Clear Stats blog said that the average game length, regardless of format, is going to be just over 40 rallies per game. So,
but the variability was the important thing.
Yeah.
Right? The variability of the traditional scoring is like, what? It was 44% more volatile.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's I think that's a case in favor of rally scoring. Your average game length is going to be about 41 points, but in rally scoring, it's going to be 36 to 45 points. In traditional scoring, you could play 35 to 100 points and have the same result, essentially.
Yeah, but wouldn't you say there's something like to be said about like sports kind of having that element of like the unknown?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't want to turn on the TV and watch pickleball and be like, oh, well, let me just hit the clock and know that this is going to be over in 30 minutes.
Right.
And that's the great thing about tennis, in my opinion, is like you could have a match that's quick, you could have a match that's long.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a fan, you're going to watch no matter what. So you could say the same thing about these time sports. Like, yeah, basketball, football, they have a clock on them. But if it's a blowout and, the team's up by 35 points, I guarantee you they're not going to be as many timeouts. There's not going to be maybe as many fouls, right? Like, it's just going to be a faster flowing game versus if it's a tight game, more timeouts, maybe the pace of play is a little bit slower. Maybe there's more fouls. Like, you have, a discrepancy in the amount of time that's going to take for these to finish. So I think if the viewership is there, I don't think the TV networks are going to be like making a huge deal over a half an hour difference.
Right.
Right. And let's just let the freedom of play happen versus like, trying to put these like restrictions on play, which kind of leads into something that I would like to talk about. I don't know if this is that like publicly known, but maybe you know about it, that I think there's been talks about putting a shot clock
mm-hmm.
on play. which I personally feel like is the worst idea I've ever heard of.
Are you surprised that I kind of like it?
Well,
I like experiment.
I like the idea of like, you're like,
experiment.
okay, they got 2 more dinks before somebody's got to pull trigger, right? And it's
yeah,
like,
but then what happens
build.
then? Like, if there's a 30-second clock, let's just say, like, let's just take that amazing point that we had from Coop's match against the Fives.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Like, that was definitely longer than 30 seconds, right?
Yeah.
And it went through like so many different phases. Right. We had the traditional start to a point where we're just kind of trying to get up to the kitchen. We had the firefight, which went for like 10 seconds alone. Like, then they reset, then they go back to dinking, then they're back in the firefight.
But like, so
like, are you gonna just like, oh, sorry, that's it?
So
like, end of highlight. Like, you're gonna have everyone in the stands
but
groaning.
in lacrosse, I'll give you an example. Like, there is a clock on advancing the ball up the field. So getting it to the point where, you're like within certain proximity to the net. But then once you establish that proximity, you can then exit and the game resumes. But it speeds it up to a degree. But like, it's not going to call the point dead if, something doesn't happen in a certain amount of time. So I feel like there's ways to
but this is also the other thing about this is like, it's not lacrosse or basketball where you have multiple people on the field. Someone who maybe is not on ball can look and communicate shot clock. When you're playing tennis or pickleball or one of these racket sports, whatever, your eye is glued to the ball.
Right.
I'm not taking my eye off the ball to look at some stupid shot clock that's telling me I got to speed the ball up right now.
But what if it is like a light sound? It's like a light beeping, and you know, okay.
Yeah, in the arena it
Probably
goes like
nuts,
10, 9, 8. Well,
wouldn't that be sick if the whole crowd is counting down?
Right.
You know something's coming.
They could also feel like too, like the argument is that, Steve was saying he doesn't want to have like these huge long rallies and like big dink points. But there's only 2 guys out there that really play like this. Yeah. Big dink energy points. But really, there's only 2 guys that play like that or cause others to even kind of play like that. And
what's Loon and Callan?
Yes, they would be in it too.
Maybe who are you talking about? Let's name names.
I'm talking about Ben and Colin.
Fair.
Obviously they command a lot of respect out there. So it's like, you want to make sure you're attacking at the right times, and they play, conservative because they can, right? They make a lot of balls and they wait for a very, very good opportunity before they generally take chances. But those 100-point dink rallies don't happen very often.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you on this one. I'm definitely in favor of plenty of rule changes, and I really like experimentation. Now, don't get me wrong. I would really like to watch a tournament where they have a 30-second shot clock and see what it's like. Like, I want to see it happen. I think they're putting together an exhibition where it's going to happen.
So
I'd like to watch it. I'd like to see it happen. But this isn't a change where I'm like, yeah, this needs to happen for MLP. I've probably said about 15 things. I'm like, yeah, I would like to see this happen for MLP. Thomas can attest to that.
Mm-hmm.
This is
not one that I'm like chomping at the bit to be like, yeah, let's see what happens. But that being said, when somebody does it, I'm sure as hell going to watch. I think it's going to be an interesting way to change, to see how things change. And it could be a one-off event that gets run some point in a given year. You have a 24-second shot clock for this one event and see what happens. I mean, there's plenty of sports where you do have interesting exhibition type things.
Well, we just had here in Austin the Dell match play for golf, right? That's a totally different format. So you can have events where things differ.
Did I miss that?
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of wanted to go, actually.
Yeah.
Shoot.
It's over the weekend.
So I think I'm with you. I think I'm with you on this one. I don't know, Steve. You're gonna have to pull some magic out for this one. I want to see it though. I want to see it.
We all thought rally scoring at first would be like a total bust,
right?
And it ended up being, or like maybe the Dreambreaker, right? So he's had great ideas.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a good track record.
Not get it twisted, but
he's got a good track record.
This one I'm vetoing hard. It's got
Don't
got the
veto
Arnold-
it till you've
got the
seen it,
Arnold
brother.
veto.
Don't
I'll
veto
watch
it till
it.
you've seen it.
But maybe on the APP or something, or like some exhibition.
Well, I think we're
A
gonna.
bubbly exhibition with Jack Sock and
I'm gonna hype this. I want to run a Wild West tournament with Thomas at some point
Yeah,
this
we're
year.
still doing it. Somebody
gonna
volunteered to ref, I think.
Okay, perfect.
So we got that.
Sweet, perfect.
Inching our way there.
We have strict requirements for referees for this one. So I don't know who this is, but we're gonna run a Wild West tournament where all of my wacky rule changes are implemented, and we'll see.
Can I offer a new one? 2 points for body bag.
I love that.
Yeah.
And you're allowed to say body bag.
Yeah. Are you not allowed to?
You have to say body bag to claim your second point.
Oh, yeah.
Body
I
bag.
was gonna say saying it removes a point, but you still get one. It's like
That's true. You could, yeah.
you want to
neutralize.
play the psychological game
yeah,
and
that's
maybe
true.
take 1 less point, or you keep it classy and get 2 points.
I think for our tournament, you have to say body bag to claim your second point.
Fair enough. I'll have no problems.
All right. What else do we have here? I think you said you had to get out of here relatively.
I'd say we got like 15 minutes.
15 minutes or so?
Hold on, let me.
Let's talk about your performance at MLP. What's going on with
Do we
Team Clean?
need to do that? Do we need to do that? What's going on with Team Clean? Not a lot.
Yeah.
Not a lot. We actually started off pretty strong. We went to a Dreambreaker with the with BLQK. We couldn't pull it out, and that was the highlight of the weekend. I think we got swept twice after that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a rebuilding process.
Yeah. Can you rebuild between now and the next one?
We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll look to make some moves, some trades and whatnot, because
I think I'm
you kinda
available.
have to. Are you?
No.
Did you get dropped?
Mad drop.
Mad dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so I have to issue a revision to some of my draft grades.
Okay.
I gave the Dallas Pickleball Club a C-
Right.
for trading Megan Fudge away, dropping Chuck Taylor, picking up Daniel De La Rosa, and getting Jill Braverman.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing, all of that was a C- move.
Yes, that whole thing was a C-.
I think Chuck being dropped out of play completely was a little shocking.
Yeah.
They're saved by the fact that Daniel was available and arguably could possibly have been one of the last premier picks.
Mhm.
I think I gave my grade before they picked up Daniel.
Yeah.
So I knew that at the point.
Mm-mm.
Did I not? Okay,
Mm-mm.
never mind then.
That was
Well,
that was actually,
I gave my grade because I said that Frenchie should have dropped himself. Can you, if Chuck and De La Rosa
pulled the
played
Manassi.
together, pulled the Manassi? Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah.
I don't know if he technically dropped himself, but
He was
the
dropped from
manager
his
who was
his
dropped.
team, and MPC
They did a lot better.
They finished third. They did. They finished third.
sorry, Matt.
I'm gonna reevaluate that to a B- move. I still think Chuck Taylor would have been better on that team, but Brandon French balled out, man.
So you think Chuck and Daniel should have been on the team?
I think a combo of Chuck and Daniel would have done
Better.
quite well.
Okay.
But I don't know about better.
French just kind of
Frenchie-
fits the mold for MLP,
He does, and he did.
The
he
Jeff
balled.
Barnick kind of type.
He balled. He hit Christian Alshon in the
He
head.
bagged him a couple times.
He bagged him a couple times. He balled out. I don't know. I'd be curious whether or not they would have done better with Chuck Taylor, but we'll never know. But anyway, I had to address it because we got a text from Jill.
Oh, she was upset. Do you
She had a lot of thoughts.
She had a lot of thoughts.
do you think anyone can beat the Bay Area Breakers, or are they gonna three-peat?
Ooh, that's a good question. They've lost some matches, haven't they?
I
lost
think the
some pool
men's
play
has been a little shaky. I think I don't know. I haven't watched a lot, but I think they've lost a couple. I think their girls have just like Ava was just such a good pick. No one knew who she was. Lauren and I actually got to see her play one of her first tournaments. It was this small APP Alabama that no one went to. Gold medal Julian Arnold.
Who said that?
But she won gold singles, and I could tell that she was going to be a player. She was very clean hitter.
Who is this?
Ava Ronikowski. Yes, whatever. Sorry. But yeah.
Ava R.
Super nice girl. Amazing player. Hell of a pickup. So, I think obviously, and Christian probably dropping lower than he should. I feel like he should be, maybe a mid to late first round pick.
What they got him in the second.
He was a second male. Like he should either be like he's your first guy, or like you're using your second pick to get him.
But at the point that he was picked, when we had this draft in December, he was still a huge unknown.
Yeah, but I think it just once again
way.
like I think people need to like stop looking at the results and start looking at the player. Because I think you could say this about a lot of players at a certain point in MLP that were just picked way later than they should have. So you got to look at the potential and the upside. And MLP is all about picking for upside. Like you can pick a safe pick, but you're going to get. But then at the same time, you can pick someone who maybe on paper hasn't had the results, but then you put them with a more experienced partner, or you get them in this team environment, and boom, they really shine. So, I'd personally rather take someone whose upside is going to give me the opportunity to win versus like a safe pick and say like, oh, maybe we don't have the chance to win, but we're going to be consistently fourth. Like,
yeah,
MLP is about winning.
I think of the Challenger League teams. I think that the Slice could give them some troubles in a matchup. I don't know if they've.
That's Emily Ackerman, Ryler,
Susanna, Ryler, and Connor.
On paper is a strong team.
Yeah, I think they lost in the semifinals both times. And just looking at it matchup wise, like I think that Emily and Susanna would be favorites in the women's match. I think that Ryler and Connor would probably be slight underdogs in that one, but not by a tremendous amount. I'd say it's a 55-45 match for the breakers.
Right.
And then the mixeds are both probably 55-45 for Bay Area.
Yeah, I mean that's a tough team to beat. I mean, was Pablo the first overall? Like Pablo is like one of those players that could easily be in the Premier League and probably deserves to be.
No, dude, you know who number one was.
Right. Well, after that.
Was he the first male? I don't know.
He had to have been up there.
Yeah.
I think he was maybe the second overall pick. I mean, he's been playing so well. I mean, he was playing well when we played a tournament or two at the end of last year, and him and Fetty have really been putting it together, and is always a consistent singles threat and can play a big mix game. So it's a tough team. Very tough team to beat.
True that.
Would they beat clean?
We will never find out. We will never find out.
Zane is very thankful.
Yeah. All right. What else we got, or is that it for us?
I think we actually have to wrap the Dink Studio because we're on a time constraint here.
Evicted.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Julian, thanks for popping on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, sounds super excited about it too.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Listen, you did the intro. What's our closer?
Usually you have to sell some shit, so go ahead.
This hoodie, repthedink.com. Coolest hoodie in pickleball. Coolest piece of clothing at all in pickleball right now. And then if you want to work in pickleball, pickleballjobs.io. All sorts of new jobs being added every day. Work in pickleball. You know you want to. That's all I got.
Who is that? Is that you? 3-5 form?
Yeah. Yes.
Looks good.
All right. So he sold his stuff. Leave a comment. I think we're doing some sort of giveaway. Chad Lactates will probably win, but you can try.
Guy has hustle.
He does have hustle, so be like him. Subscribe on YouTube, Instagram, Follow us on Twitter,
Yeah. I don't know.
TikTok, the Tickety Tockety.
Follow Julian around in his matches and heckle him.
Yes.
You can follow me on Instagram too.
No.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No.
I'm trying to pass Lauren on Instagram followers. I'm getting close.
Go give the Pickleball Studio 1-star review. No, just kidding. We like those guys, kind of. Not really. Okay. All right, let's be done.
Yeah. Done.
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, rather had fun,